And we are live, which is awesome because that was the point. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Debra Eckerling. I'm the founder of the Deb Method and author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. And I am so excited for today's Goal Chat Live, the last live of the year. You know, we're doing all these lasts of the year, which is really kind of cool and exciting because it's like we get a brand new one, except for those who know that I started 2021 on December 1st. So whether you're a month into the year or you're getting the fresh start later in the week, it's all good, because one thing that you need to do as you progress through the year is put your best foot forward. So for today's Goal Chat Live, I'm so fortunate to have Making Tea, aka Making Tsang, aka Making Tea. And we met because I spoke at the Agora Pulse Social Pulse Summit, the LinkedIn edition over the summer, and you interviewed me, and now it's my turn. So you are a keynote speaker, a FOMO creator, and like all around cool person. And I'm sure you can introduce yourself a little bit better. So go for it.
Well, hi, Debra. Hi, viewers. How are we all? My name is Making Tsang, as Deb said. My first name is Making, and I'm on all the socials as Making Tea. And I call myself the FOMO creator. FOMO means the fear of missing out, and I help to amplify the buzz and excitement of any conference, event, virtual or in person, by creating live social media content with the aim of achieving a particular goal for a conference organizer.
Wonderful. And one thing, and we were talking about this briefly before, and then I said, no, let's stop talking because I don't want to repeat myself, but it's authenticity. I think this year people have been either forced into it or called out for not being it. So what are your thoughts on this topic? Because when we were trying to come up with something great, I'm like, beginning of the year, perfect, go.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, authentic is one of those buzzwords that came into being earlier this year, and it was very quickly, very apparent when the most inauthentic people were suddenly being called out. And I think it's a great term because we want to really, truly show ourselves and show up. Warts and all, the good stuff, the bad stuff. And 2020 was definitely the perfect year to showcase our shortcomings and our successes as well. So people who thrived were the ones who definitely showed up and were able to inspire others with people, with things that they were going through as well. Because as we know, it's been a challenging year for everyone.
I find myself saying this frequently. I've never worn makeup so many days in a row in my life because I work from home. I do feel, and anybody who knows me knows this is me. And even admitting this publicly, this is me. When I'm not broadcasting, I wear my glasses, but I am on and ready to go just about every single day because you have to. You don't know when a meeting is going to come up or something is going to happen, or you're just inspired, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And even when there are blips in our lives, because I'm sure, Debra, being an entrepreneur yourself, you will have, those up journeys, those down journeys, the roller coaster ride. And when you're feeling a little bit low, it's okay to be, to feel low. And it's okay to tell the world that, things aren't always smelling of roses. And, those few times where I was showing up and saying, hey, I'm having a bit of a bad time at the moment, the amount of support that I've had, people coming to me and saying, wow, Making, I didn't realize you were going through that too, or thank you so much for showing up and saying that I'm also going through a rough patch. And it just really helps to bring the entrepreneurial community together, really, when we can really support each other in those ups and down moments.
Absolutely, because I'm the cheerleader. People say, okay, what word do you use to describe yourself? Motivator, cheerleader, yay, rah, you can do it. And I think coming out of this year, some people had I think terrible is an understatement for some people. other people had a good year. And if you had a good year, we're happy for you. If you had an okay year, keep on trucking. And if your year was terrible, you be you, and that's okay. And I saw somebody tweeted yesterday, everybody's making new plans. If you're not ready, that's okay too. And it all ties back to your authentic self.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think that 2020 has been a fantastic year for encouraging us to slow down and recharge and rethink, pivot where necessary, but definitely reconnecting with ourselves, because I think that we were in danger of, fast forwarding to the future, not really taking stock of what we have around us, and where we can help and where we can show, and because we're too busy being being ourselves. So having this great pause the world over really helped us to reconnect with our families, with our clients, with our prospects. And as I say, it's been a great year for me personally to put a few things in place or to double down on certain things. But definitely there was a lot of reflection going on, the opportunity for us to support others as well, which has been fantastic. So and as Michelle says, hi Michelle, we were forced to pivot. And I think that, for some of us, in our business, we know what we're supposed to do, but we haven't prioritized. So for example, I've been threatening to have a website written for 2-3 years, haven't done that. I've got an email capturing tool, but I haven't done anything with the emails that I've captured. So it gave me an opportunity to pause and reflect and actually do something where I can really sort of truly connect with with the people who are watching my stuff.
Well, I love this. You've been threatening to, which is it's true. We're busy. We can only do so many things. And when you're forced to change, and one of the reasons I wrote my book was to help people embrace change, whether it's by choice or circumstance. And it came out 2 months before the pandemic when everybody was forced to rethink. So the ridiculous timing of my book is something I feel incredibly blessed about. But my year, I started the year doing a book tour, and then I was forced into doing a lot of online stuff, which is something for years I have been talking about doing. And then when it's the only thing, I got kicked in the pool, which was great.
Yeah, and it's a good, and it just shows the power of who we are, what we're capable of doing when we are, forced in a particular situation as well. So, like you say, for some people, it's been a great year. For some people, we've had to pivot. Some people have had to, take stock. But for all of us, it's definitely been a great opportunity for us to, sort of rethink some of the bits and pieces and really double down on in our in our business. And as similar to yourself, Deb, I've been threatening to do more online and haven't got around to doing it. So this year was a great opportunity for us to do that. And I'm grateful that we had that opportunity.
Okay, so I want to back up a little bit because I really want to know how you became a keynote speaker and expert at being yourself, because this is in a way how I was thinking through the topic is you are, for lack of a better word, you.
Yes.
You're great at it. You have an identifiable brand and you love what you do. So how did you get there?
So I actually went into business quite by accident, and after I had a tea business, so I'm on all the socials as Making Tea. So my first name is Making Tea, and so I use my my name as my brand to educate people about tea. And when I used social media really well, it gave me some incredible opportunities to collaborate with people. people. But as a sideline, in a way of marketing my business, I love live tweeting. And so when people were starting to see what I was doing for my own business, people were asking me, well, can you do this for us as well? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So when I was live tweeting and looking for those opportunities to live tweet, when I went to a couple of guys who I absolutely admire, Andrew and Pete, I said to them, would you like a live tweeter for your conference? And they said, we like tweeting, but can you do other stuff as well, Instagram and Facebook? And I said, yeah, sure. You know what it is. You know what it's like as an entrepreneur. You say yes and worry about the details later. So fortunately, I did a really good job. They absolutely loved it. And in fact, it was Andrew and Pete who came up with the name FOMO Creator, because I was able to create that buzz and excitement to get people excited about a conference, about their event. I managed to help them to sell tickets for their next conference. And that's really where the ball rolled, really. So from live tweeter to FOMO creator for my own business, and then started to do it for conferences and workshops, launches, and that kind of stuff for my clients. And that's where we first met.
Exactly. And I love, and I was going to say it, but you said it first. An entrepreneur's favorite word should be yes.
Absolutely.
Well, and this is why I talk about mission and motto all the time. When you know your mission and you know your motto, and you are your brand, you know you. So it was in complete alignment, and to like seek the opportunity. First of all, when you're open to opportunities, they come to you. The other is when you're in alignment, you can be you wherever you are.
Without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
The name, it just worked. Are you just I was going to say, what came first, the name or the making tea? But I mean, come on. I see it as like you just embraced what you were given from birth and said, okay, let's do this. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I went to events and networking events and so on, I'd introduce myself. I say, hi, my name is May King, and they'd say, what? And I'd say, May King, I like making tea, making coffee, making babies if I'm being cheeky, and it made people giggle. And then one day, actually, a friend of mine said to me, that name's much better for you than your other business name that I had. And once I embraced making tea as my name, it really did sort of sing to me. And so it's part of my branding that that I talk about making tea, making coffee, or making it happen, making mistakes in business, and that kind of stuff. So yes, it is part of my branding, and and I love it.
So do you think what is the first step in claiming your authenticity?
Wow. The first step in claiming on authenticity. That's a great question. I think it's really knowing who you are. Really understanding who you are. And, you talked about your mission. And, I think for me, I want to make an impact with everybody who comes across me, with my content, with the interviews that I do, the articles that I write, and so on. And I think that being a Brit, we're accused of being having the stiff upper lip. And I remember when I read a quote by Muhammad Ali, who said, "It ain't bragging if you can back it up." And once I read that quote, it almost gave me permission to be myself and not worry about being judged by other people. And so I think that that's really important. So knowing who you are, knowing what your vision and mission is, and just staying true to that. I think that's what's really important, because there will be outside pressures, external forces that will try and take you off track. But as long as you know, then, you don't need to worry with those outside voices.
Somebody posted yesterday in the chat that she's dealing with imposter syndrome, and this is my new favorite quote. I love it. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're
much.
welcome. You're very welcome.
It's going to make its way into the recap and everything because it's true. We do the things that we love because we have the experience, we have the knowledge, and we want to be out there. If we're out there, it's on purpose. So allow yourself that fire, that ability to keep moving it forward. So let's talk about FOMO. So how everybody, and I do things in writing and social media. How do you make something viral? How do you make something this? How do you make something that? I say it's trial and error because you don't know unless you try and see what fails and what succeeds. But what are some things people can it sounds almost funny to say, how can people consciously put their genuine, authentic self out there in a strategic way?
So the tagline of my business, FOMO Creator, is bridging the gap between social media and PR. And so you want to show yourselves in a good light. You want to let people know what it is you're doing, how you're doing it behind the scenes, showcase your authority, showcase your, your authentic self. And by keep showing up, by keep posting what it is you do on a regular basis, you are basically creating content for the lurkers. And that's who my audience is. Okay, it's not my fans, it's not my followers, but it's for the lurkers, the people who haven't interacted with me, who haven't retweeted, who haven't shared any of my stuff, haven't liked my stuff, but they're there and they're watching. So that is how you create FOMO, because the more that you put out there of yourself, you're not bragging if you've got the stats to prove it, as Muhammad Ali says. If you keep showing up and letting people know that in my case, I created FOMO for my clients, helped them to sell 425 tickets in a week for their next conference. For another one of my clients, again, through creating live social media content, I helped them to sell 55% of their tickets for their next event. And these are facts. These are things that I've been able to do. I tweet on average 1,200 tweets a day at a conference. So these are things that I can showcase. And so when you think about your business and what you can do for others and how you have serviced others, not just the testimonials that you get from the end of your projects, but showcase what you've done before and during the project as well. This is how you create FOMO, because when you're creating content for the lurkers and showcasing what it is you are doing, you are effectively showcasing your authority. And when the time is right for those lurkers, then they will come to you and say, wondering whether you can help me on this particular project. And that's how you create FOMO, just consistently showcasing what it is you do in the best possible light, and walking people through what it is you've done as well. That's how you create FOMO.
Excellent. Do you have a good example of it? And I love these stats because you're amazing. This is why you're here and why we're talking about it. But let's say for the newbie who's like, okay, it's a new year. One of my goals is to show my face better, more often. Where to start?
I mean, there are plenty of people on any of the platforms. So, I mean, my particular favorite platform is Twitter. I also like LinkedIn as well. But wherever your audience is, you should definitely, appear there and connect with people. I think one of the things that people have forgotten to do, and 2020 was definitely an opportunity for us to do, is to really start networking again, networking online, getting to know people, starting building relationships with people. So whichever your favorite platform is, or your 2 or 3 favorite platforms are, just make sure that you are building relationships with people and not just publishing your own stuff, stuff, but also showing up in other people's stuff. You know, are all of your fans and your followers, you know, are they writing content that you could actually contribute to? Are there any conversations that you can get involved in? And you know, and are there any opportunities for you to actually help people without the set expectation of expecting anything in return? So these are the ways that you can actually start building that community, building that trust, building your brand and putting it out there onto social media, as well as, you know, showcasing what it is you can do for people, and not in a salesy manner, but just showcasing your authority, what it is that you can do to service others. So that's what I've been able to do. I know that that's what you do regularly, Deb. And so, as I say, in creating content for the lurkers and helping people, you know, one of my friends on LinkedIn, John Esperian, he talks about being relentlessly helpful. And I absolutely love that, because he is relentlessly helpful with no set expectation of anything in return. And he knows that help will come back to him at some point or other, not necessarily from the person that he has that he has helped in the first place. So that's how you can get started. So write your stuff, definitely, but start building relationships with people as well.
We knew the timing of this was great, but it's actually even more perfect because community is my goal chat theme in January. And I've got virtual events and networking and social media are the three goal chat topics after personal goals, which is next week. So it's as much as we knew the timing was perfect, it's even more so because it's something that I believe in as well. This is how we met. I had known Mike Alton for years, who ran the summits, and he posted, we're doing our next summit on LinkedIn. And I wrote, I love LinkedIn. Can I talk? Because when you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And in fact, you know, when I'd heard about the summit, I've known Mike for a couple of years. You know, admired his work for a while, and I mentioned to him, "Would you like a FOMO creator?" And it turned out he did. So, so I ended up tweeting. I wrote LinkedIn articles, interviewed your good self and some of the other speakers as well, and that was how I was able to create that buzz and excitement, you know, for that particular summit, the LinkedIn edition. And Mike enjoyed it so much that he brought me back for the Twitter edition as well. So when you are good at what you do, but when you look for those opportunities and ask, you never know what will happen. And if that particular opportunity didn't come, don't worry, the next one will be around the corner.
The thing that you said, I actually wrote in something a few days ago, which is the people you help aren't necessarily the ones that are going to help you back or be your client or be your resource. But it gets frustrating. I mean, we know it's like, what is this? We're out in the universe, and some days it feels like a vacuum, and then all of a sudden somebody from out of nowhere replies back to you. How do you keep up the spirits when you're just, because I have clients that they're like really frustrated. I'm like, it's December, talk to me at the end of January or February, but keep doing your thing. What recommendations do you have for people who are like, enough, come on?
I know it's hard. It is challenging being patient. It really is. And I get your frustration. I really do. We're all on different timelines though. You know, as I say, you know, sometimes I can get a client within half a day of doing my work. Sometimes I don't get a client for, 18 months. You know, someone has been watching my stuff for 18 months before they approach me. I think the thing that's really important is that you just consistently show up. And when I say consistently, that's it could be whatever is best for yourself. It could be every day. It could be 3 times a week. It could be once a week. You know, you never know whatever, because we also need to look after ourselves. We also need to look after our families as well as our business as well. So I think that there's a couple of things that you can definitely do. Definitely have a group of people that you can tap into whenever you're feeling a bit frustrated or a bit, pick up the phone, send a WhatsApp, send, a Facebook message, a Twitter DM to, your close network and say, struggling here, or I need your help. And just having a quick conversation with someone can definitely take you back, restore your faith in the roller coaster ride that is entrepreneurship. So definitely do that. I remember when I was feeling particularly low, I was coming out of my lull and I wrote a post about it. And I knew that, in the words of the great Gandalf, this too shall pass. And when I wrote that post, I got a lot of support. Which was, just what I needed, but also other people needed to hear that as well. So I was being authentic. I was showing that it's not all, smelling of roses. By producing that piece of content, it was able to help others. So it was still making that impact that I wanted. So, posting something, connecting with colleagues who are in the same space as you, who have a business like yourself, definitely tap into those. And if you haven't joined a membership of some sort of community, you need to find a community, because being in business can often feel like the loneliest place on the planet, but it doesn't need to be. When you have a community like Right Online, we know where, we know what it's like. You're not alone. You just have to be brave enough to say, you know what, I need a bit of help. And when you ask for help, the magic happens. It really, really does.
It's interesting. It's when you ask for help, you're actually, in allowing someone to help you, it's going to make them feel good too. So you're actually doing them a favor when you ask for help, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, pride is a funny thing. It's something that we had to combat. But when you step into your vulnerability, when you're really, really shouting out and saying, I need a bit of help, it's so powerful. Because when you ask that question, and you give the opportunity for someone to help you, like you say, it makes them feel good, but it also helps them as well. It helps them in more ways than just by asking for help. Saying thank you as well is also really important. When we're creating content for the lurkers, what I've tried to do is, when I'm reading content and I find, and I've got something out of it, I go out of my way to say thank you. And sometimes we forget to do that, don't we? Because we're too busy reading the next thing. But if we just take stock and just be truly grateful for who we have in our community, it's just really, really powerful.
I completely agree. and I put, if you're not in my Facebook group, I did put the link in the comments. And this started as a writer support group, which I grew to be for writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. But for the very reason you mentioned, we need our people. Yeah. We need a place to say, I did this, and other people to say, good for you, or I'm frustrated, and other people could say, how can I help? So it's find your tribe, be yourself. Okay, now how do you, here's the really important question. How do you remain authentic, vulnerable, and professional at the same time? How do you say, because I am a huge fan of the law of attraction. You have to be out there and you have to be, okay, universe, this is me. But at the same time, you want to be genuine. So where do you find that balance?
I think I'm inspired by other people. And so personal development is something that I didn't do when I first started my business. And of course, it kind of makes sense that in the last 4 years, where I did read a lot more and be inspired by a lot more people, the last 4 years was helped my business to grow way more than the previous 6 years that I was in business, where I was really, I really allowed myself to step into my vulnerability and ask more questions and so on. So personal development is just really, really important. Definitely read and learn from others, say thank you, find your tribe, as you've already said, Deb. And I think that when you see what others are doing, you can be inspired by them, but find your way of communicating that, as well. So, some of the people that I know, absolutely lost the whole of the business because their business was mainly speaking, around the world. And so with 2020, they lost all their speaking gigs,
Right.
and they had to take stock. They had to take stock and think. And as I saw them, what they were doing on social media, I thought they were just truly, truly inspired. Another one of my dear friends, she's actually a travel agent. So we know the travel industry was, one of the hardest hit. Now, she could have felt sorry for herself, and she did. She had a few cries, but then she just recovered and continued to educate people about what's happening in the travel industry. And she pivoted, and what she was doing was just absolutely amazing. And it was inspirational, really inspiring for myself. So that's what I do to stay true to myself. I learn from others, and I read from others and talk to other people. And I think that with personal development, where you're inspired by other people and learn from other people, find your way of communicating that to your community and tribe. I think that's the true way in which you can actually show up and help your community. You're not always going to get it right. I don't always get it right. We don't, that's, we're humans, we're flawed, and that's why we're so wonderful. But yeah, just learning from others and growing from others, I think is really, really important, because we don't know everything. We really don't. So we need to, stay true to ourselves by learning from others and be inspired by them. I think that's what I say.
Okay. What did I not ask you? Because this is just, I'm like, okay, what else is that? It's just, and I'm all about goal setting simplified. It's as simple as figuring out who you are, being true to yourself, and showing that to the world, and being all of the human.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what didn't you ask me? Gosh, that's such a difficult question. I don't know, Deb. What didn't you ask me?
Okay. I do have one. What do you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of the year?
What do I know now that I wish I knew at the beginning of the year? Golly, that's such a challenging question. Do you know, I think that we often forget, even though 2020 gave us the opportunity to reflect on what we've done, I still don't do that enough. And I think we also need to do that more. We need to pat ourselves on the back and congratulate ourselves on things that we have achieved. And even with the things that we haven't achieved, have we taken a step or two forward to achieving that goal? And if we have, we celebrate that as well. So one of the talks that I heard in October, I think it was, the lady had asked about, what have we achieved? And for the people that she asked, a lot of them were talking about financial gains. But actually, we've done a lot more than that. We've actually, created a course, or we've pivoted successfully. We managed to gain, a few podcast interviews, and these are the things that have actually helped us to take those steps forward. So not everything needs to be in the, necessarily the result of what's in our bank balance. I think that's something that I definitely need to do more of, and I think that we all need to do more of, to reflect on our successes. And our successes are not necessarily numbers, they are, have we taken steps forward, and we need to congratulate ourselves more on that. That's something that I'm getting better at, but I need to do more of.
So now I know that I need to, like, every now and then just send you a message saying, "You're awesome. You did this." Is that what I learned from this? Is my goal is to tell you, because I did this exercise in October where I posted a win a day, because by October everybody's like, "Is this year over yet?" And I wanted to be able to say, it's not, we're getting through it. So I'm 100% with you on everything. We need to be ourselves, take incremental steps, and celebrate as we go along.
Yeah. Celebrate all wins. All wins. Sometimes, if I manage to put Lippy on, that's that's a win for some days. For some days it's picking up the phone. Some days it's actually, writing. Consistently writing on a regular basis. Acknowledging where we have fallen over, but celebrating that we've got back up well.
Again.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap, we need to give people a bonus goal. So what should it be? And I think the extra bonus goal is to celebrate your wins, but what is something someone can do when they're done watching this to work on their authentic self?
We talked about reflection, and that's something that I also need to do for myself as well. So 2020 was definitely quite a different year compared to to previous years. But reflect on what we've done in 2020 and compare that with previous years, just to showcase what we can do, what we've achieved in this year, which has been amazing. And just imagine what we can do in 2021. I think that's something that we really need to do, to reflect on what we've achieved in 2020. We can build on top of that in 2021. I think that's definitely something we should all do. And it's something that I'm going to be doing as well.
Wonderful. I love it. This has been great. I think this is a wonderful live to cap off the year and get excited about next. I thank you so much for joining. And I'm gonna do a little bit of reminder business, and then you can come up with a final thought while I'm chatting. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Again, I'm Debra Eckerling, founder of the Deb Method and author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. I host Goal Chat on Twitter every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, and Goal Chat Live Mondays at 4 p.m., where we dive deeper into the topic, or we go into a different fun one with an expert, so we can give you goals to help you move forward. You can read the recaps on my blog. debmethod.com/blog. And if you'd like to learn more about my book, if you go to yourgoalguidebook.com, it will take you right to the Amazon page, because we are all about setting you up for success, because you can do it. Take the time, reflect, and make a plan and move forward, right? Okay, so May King, please tell everybody where they can find you and give a final thought, and then I'll close us out.
So you can find me on all the socials, on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, as Making Tea. That's MAYKINGTEA. My website is FOMOcreator.com. And to create FOMO for you and your business, all you need to do is showcase what you do, and show up on social media consistently and authentically, and create content for the lurkers. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. And your lurkers will be changed into prospects at the right convenient time for them. So if you've got any more questions on how to create FOMO for your own business, feel free to contact me on all the socials, and I will do my best to oblige.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today in showing up and sharing how people need to show up. This has been absolutely wonderful. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching the replay, wonderful. Connect with May King, connect with me. I'm at the Deb Method everywhere. And as we close out the year, reflect on your wins. If you need some extra encouragement, reach out to either one of us and we're going to cheer you on because you deserve it. But just remember, as you look back and move forward, you can do it. Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.